Drill long pan a topic, Ali pan a rocket. Muscle confusion in my try make logic. Drew yourself stop it when Rochelle upon a unicorn. Common sense, coming back to base like a uniform. Gwan. Best podcast in the broadcast. Listen when indoors, listen first class. Talk about enough things, make you start laugh. Best podcast in the world. Wagwan. Best podcast in the world.
Wagwan, everybody, Wagwan.
Yeah, we're there.
Greetings from the Most High. Joe!
Jesus Christ.
All right, guys, just a little bit of housekeeping before we get started. We have a YouTube channel. If you don't already know, now you know. The YouTube channel is the Wagwan Podcast. Please subscribe, like, and share any of our content. Feel free to tell a friend.
Yes. And if you want us to talk about something that you want to hear about, email us at wagwanpodcasts@gmail.com, WAHGWAN podcast@gmail.com. And we're also on Instagram. Follow us, comment. Yeah.
We're also found on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, SoundCloud, Amazon Music, and all your other favorite streaming platforms. If it's a platform for streaming, we are definitely on it. Make sure you check us out.
So what's going on, Mr. Baba?
Yo, I'm here. I'm alive. Thankful for God. God
Rush.
is giving me life.
What's up?
Rochelle and Ali.
We're not the building.
Rochelle Belly. Yeah. Guys, we have a very special guest on with us tonight. Her name is Nene. Like the
Hi,
song.
Nene.
Hi, everyone.
Yeah, they made that song about her whip and Nene. That's about her. I mean, the Wagwan podcast have nothing but celebrities coming on. That's what we do.
Yeah, thank you for coming on, Renee.
No problem.
So today's episode, we're going to be talking about life after domestic abuse. And I really am excited to have this discussion because I think that kind of stuff happening in our society is absurd, and I think let's try to shed some of the Wagwan podcast light on the subject.
Mm-hmm.
So Nene, tell us a little bit about yourself and tell us if you have ever been in a domestic abuse situation.
Okay. I'm 37 years old. I'm a single mom of 3 children. I have one son who is 10. I have 2 daughters. One is 9 and one is 4. And I will say majority of my relationships with men and from a teen to an adult were abusive, if I can be candid.
Verbally or physically?
All of the above. In many different ways. Because it's not just verbal and physical, I'm sure you know.
Give us some insight on that.
It can be economical, like them controlling the money.
Yeah.
Physical, emotional, verbal. Those are just some of the examples.
Gotcha.
So, could you tell us, like, the first time, when did you realize you were being abused for the first time?
Okay, I was 14 years old, and I was, very young. My boyfriend at the time, he was like controlling. I was like hanging out with other guy friends that we all, went to school with and would hang out with. And like I was like around a lot of guys. So I noticed him like, you know, he would pinch me like, in the back if I was like, talking to the guys. Not even in a flirtatious manner, just, hanging out, being friendly. He would like pinch me, and then once the first time he hit me, I was at a family function of his, and his uncle, like I was dancing, he was Dominican, dancing salsa with his uncle. And when we left the party for him to bring me to a taxi to go home, he smacked me. And
How old was he?
like he was 1 year younger than I was, so he was 13 going on 14. And
Wow.
he told me, like he just yelled like, "Oh, are you being a slut? Like, why are you dancing with my uncle?" And I was like, "Whoa, we're just, dancing at a party, having a good time." So it was from there that I was like, okay, let me hit him back, because my mom always taught me, somebody hits you, you defend yourself. I would get into those type of arguments with him, and then we would become physically abusive to each other. I didn't feel like I was being abused because I was hitting him back. But because he would always be the one to initially act first, that's what brought me like, okay, this is abuse. This is physical abuse. And learning about it in school. There was a movie that we watched in high school, and that's what made me like, become more aware of it.
Shout out to fashion industries.
I'm about to say shout out.
Yeah.
So you said at 14.
Mhm.
At 14 you were at a party at his family's house,
Mhm.
and he was being violent with you.
Mhm. Because
I
I was
I am
dancing with his uncle.
I got that part. I'm in my mind, I'm Caribbean, and you sound Caribbean, and then just now you sounded Southern. I'm confused. So I don't know
my
if
my dad is from Jamaica, but I didn't grow with him. But
uh-huh.
I have Southern roots from Florida and from Georgia.
Gotcha. Because I hear you
I'm
just
like, how did you hear that?
yeah, you
That's
said
Southern.
something that was real Southern. Because I have family in the South. So
Okay.
yeah, you said something that was Southern just now that had me like, wait, maybe she sounds Caribbean, but then maybe she lives in the South. I don't know. Um,
Mm-mm.
so as a Jamaican, right? Like at 14, like my daughter's 9 right now.
Mhm.
14 is what's that? 5 years from now.
Yeah.
Like I would be appalled if my daughter come telling me,
Dre, what age you lost your virginity at?
this dude trying to put my business on Front Street. Um,
That's nothing, yo. That's nothing.
um, so okay, so to me, men lose their virginity twice, right? There is a Yeah, it's true. So there's a time when you had sex with, because a lot of men have sex at a young age when they don't even know what they're doing. They're just poking with a girl, right?
Okay.
So I think so. I came to America at 13. I did something in Jamaica, like I don't know, maybe 10ish. I don't know. And then when I came here, the first time think really the first time was maybe 15, 16. Like the
Yo,
real
same.
the real time.
15. 15 for me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Okay.
so 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 Nene, you are 13 And
What?
14.
14. He was
14.
13.
He was younger than you. Wow. Okay.
Mhm.
So you are 14, and he physically assaulted you.
Mhm.
Tell me what went through your mind and then what you did afterwards.
Um, Initial shock, like, to be hit by somebody that you care about, and then I just hit him back, and then we start fighting. Then I just leave and I go get in a taxi, and then I go home. I was crying, but I didn't tell my mom when I got home. I was afraid to talk to anyone about it, so I just kept it to myself. And
Why was you afraid to tell your mom?
I mean, I don't know.
Did your mom want you having a boyfriend at 14?
Wow, I don't want to throw mommy under the bus, but we okay, we didn't really talk about that stuff, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, my
she
parents
just used to
didn't.
tell me, don't get
come home
pregnant. You know what I
pregnant.
mean? That's the main thing she would say, like, don't get pregnant. She didn't talk about, having a boyfriend and things like that. Like,
let me ask you a question. This may seem irrelevant to you, but we've had a lot of conversations on this. Did you used to get beat a lot as a child or no?
Yeah. From my grandfather, from Southern background. He was very big with the physical discipline in my household. My mom as well too.
Okay. Yeah, because I was actually telling Dre that sometimes when we beat our children, they may not think that we're the safe space to come to anymore, to speak to. You know what I mean? When we beat them too excessively. Not saying that this is the case with you.
I mean, it's funny you say that, because I can see that now with me being a parent. I always told myself I wouldn't physically hit my children because of what it did to me, but I have been like the disciplinarian with them, and I try to pull myself back because you don't like being hit, so why would you hit someone else and then expect to get a different response?
Right.
It's the same thing, but it's kind of like, you when you know better, you do better.
Yeah.
Rochelle, have you ever been in this kind of situation?
Yeah, I have. So what happened with me was that I met this guy. Oh, so I don't remember if one of the podcasts I was telling you about one of my friends who had like 2 boyfriends. I was like, yo, that one looked cute. Let me just go take that one from her. So I literally took this girl's boyfriend, right? Because she had another one in the back. So she did. So
yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. So it was this guy that actually we started talking, and he would just do things that were just so like weird. Like he would just tell me, "Oh, I just cheated on you." I said, "What? What does that even mean?" What? And it's like something you just tell people, like, "Oh, I just cheated." Like, why are you so excited? And so he would say stuff like that to me. So I said, okay, if that's what we're doing, let me go cheat too. So I found this little boy. I didn't even like him. But and then I was so proud. I said, oh, I cheat too.
Yes, that's what
And
me
he was
like
like, what?
it.
And then he
How old were you,
literally,
Rochelle?
between either the last, because we were together I was in 10th grade and 11th grade with him, and I went to community college. So it's in between there. I don't know if I was in high school. I think I graduated high school. I think it was when I was in community college that this actually occurred. And he hit me.
This is
And
Jamaica.
uh, this is in Jamaica.
Mhm.
And I was just like, what? I was like in disbelief. And just like Nene, I didn't tell my parents, not because it wasn't a safe space, because my mom was a probation officer, right? It was just, I felt guilty. I felt like I caused this on myself. I felt like my mom is not going to love me the way that, she's going to be disappointed in me and stuff like that. Not to mention, this guy was in church and everybody knew his family and like, his parents were like leaders in the church.
Mm.
So for me to even say that, like, it was so many things going through my mind. Are they going to believe me?
Mm.
Like, am I destroying his reputation in the church? It was like a whole lot. So I never said anything. But then it just escalated. The more I kept it hidden, the more it escalated. And this is when I could no longer hide it, right? Because I knew this guy really wanted to kill me. I knew he was planning to kill me. So when the Matrix came out, right, he said he doesn't want to go to the Matrix. I was like, okay, you don't have to go to no Matrix. I'm going to go to the Matrix, okay? So I told him I'm going to the Matrix. It was a group of us from community college, my whole class. We went to the Matrix. But he was like, oh, you have a crush on this one guy in your class. I was like, what? No, I don't. But he saw the whole group of us because I was shocked that he came because he said he wasn't coming. So when the movie was finished, he was literally downstairs waiting on me. And I was like, oh my God, he gonna bust my ass tonight. Like, I felt it in my spirit. And then he saw the guy. Mind you, it's so many of us, but the only person he focused on was, oh, that guy is there. So obviously you were with that guy. And this is it. He drove the guy. He was so nice to everybody. He was like, anybody needs a ride? They're like, no, we're good. And the guy was like, oh, I'll come with you because, why did the guy say he gonna come? I don't know. And he dropped the guy off. And then literally as soon as the guy came out the car, he just started pounding me. And he carried me to this like deserted area, dark, and he just started like I remember he had on like a Timberland, and he was just like stepping in my head, like he pushed me down. And he was just stepping all over my body, and then this is when I knew like this man was gonna kill me right here. He called my mom. I was right there, crying, folded up in a fetal position. He called my mom. And he's like, Mom, have you seen Rochelle? I'm looking for her. And my mom was like, what? She's like,
Oh, he was planning his alibi.
yeah. Okay. And I just started praying. I was like, God, like, you got to save me. Like, this man really planning to kill me right here. And he lifted me up because I couldn't even move. He carried me not to his family house. He carried me to his brother's house because his brother was in there. And he literally bathed me down with hot water. He bathed me down because I was bruised all over. Like, there was not 1 inch of me that didn't have a bruise. And literally, like, he didn't want to carry me home. He didn't. And I was just panicking because I'm like, you told my mom I'm not with you. She's panicking because she don't know where I am. And like, so eventually he carried me home about 3 o'clock, right?
3 a.m.
3 a.m. We left the movies from about between, I don't know if we went to the early movie or the late movie. I don't know. Early movie ended at about 9. Late movie ended about 11. So I don't know. I don't remember which one of those times. But so I go home. He dropped me home, and he didn't carry me down. He dropped me up the top of the house. So Mama didn't even see who dropped me off. And she was like, oh, where you coming from? And she didn't see me because, it was in the dark and stuff. She's like, oh, my God, it's so late. Why are you coming? Where are you coming from? This guy called me because he worried about you. Where were you? Who were you with? And I was like, I wasn't talking back there. I was like, it's okay. And then she turned on the light. And I couldn't open my eyes. And then she was like, take off. Like, she just realized that my whole face was bruised. And she said, open your eyes. And I'm like, I can't. The light is affecting my eyes. And she was like, what? And she turned on the light. She's like, take off your clothes. And I took it off. And she started crying. She was like, you need to talk to me right now. And again, my mom is a probation officer, right? So she literally calls everybody, like all the police. She's like, listen, we're going up because somebody's going to pay for this. You know, I can laugh now. It wasn't funny back then. And literally, I went to the optometrist the next day. And he literally like shattered my retina. That was how bad it was. I couldn't see anything. My eyes were bloodshot. Like the doctor said, like it's like so much light coming in because it's so damaged. So I literally couldn't see from that eye for a good while and stuff. This is the first time I'm saying all of this, by the way. I've never said this publicly to anybody. Yeah. And the police
Sorry you
went, they
went through
talked
that.
to him. Yeah, it's fine. It's a learning experience. The police went, they spoke to him, and he was just like, oh, whatever. Like, he was playing it off. And they were like, okay, we will arrest you. And they came to me and they're like, do you want us to press charges? Do you want to press charges? And being stupid, I was like, no, I don't want him to.
How old was you again?
It's either between 16, 17, or 18, because that's the time span of our relationship.
You wasn't stupid. You wasn't stupid.
Like, I just said, no, I don't want to press any charges. I don't want him to go to jail because, you know.
Stockholm Syndrome.
Yeah, exactly, because I didn't want him to suffer. Okay, but he nearly killed me, you know? So I think it's just a victim mentality where you still feel sorry for the people that are abusing you.
That's what changes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Dre, have you ever been hit by a woman?
In a fight situation?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm a dude, man. Like, it didn't faze me. It didn't hurt me, and I didn't feel threatened. You know, that I grabbed her and I said, "Look, I'm a man. You're a woman. You can't win. Let's stop this stuff right now." And so she did, and it never went anywhere. I mean, I don't want to belittle anybody, but no woman can abuse me. I mean, I'm a big guy. I'm a really big guy. So it didn't go anywhere, put it that way. But I mean, playfully, yes. Seriously, maybe once or twice. And like I said, I checked that right away with a strong show of force. Not hitting her back, but like grabbing her and putting her on the wall. Like, look, you can't, so don't try.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nene.
What about you?
Me? Yeah, a woman swung on me before, definitely. Definitely pushed me. I think I've experienced women that kind of wanted me to hit them. I don't know if that sounds crazy, or I don't know if you've experienced that. It sounds like you did too. Like, she wanted you to fight back. And I grew up with all women, so for the life of me, I would never ever hit a woman. Nene, how did you get into your next situation that became domestic, and what age was that?
The next one was, I want to say I was around 20 years old. And he was like, the verbal was crazy, like hands down. Like, so I would just, because of what I had already experienced in previous relationships, I just I was always like ready for them to hit me first, if that makes sense. So always on guard. I would always, a trigger for me would be if the man starts yelling at me or, cursing or, talking down.
Yeah.
Let me strike. That was my defense. Let me hit you first. so you know I'm not playing, if that makes sense.
I got you.
Why didn't you walk away instead of argue with them?
Fear of being alone.
Thank you for
Now we
saying
going
that,
there.
because other people
Now we
feel
going
that
there.
exact way. That
Yeah.
exact way. Yeah. Wow.
So that's relationship number 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did you have another one? Another violent relationship?
Yes. The third one was with my children's father. Well, my oldest 2 kids' dad.
So, question. So we're at you have 2 children?
I have 3.
3 children, and all 3 fathers.
No, the youngest is from a different guy.
No, okay, so 2 of the 3 children fathers were abusive.
Well,
Or all 3 were abusive.
Uh-huh.
Interesting. So and there is a school of thought out there that says that it's something that you look for in a man, because for you to find 3 men that want to hit you, that's not an accident.
Right. What is it about me that is attracting that?
No.
Or
I think it has to do with what you are looking for in a man, because there's some women out there that like a macho man, like a gangster man kind of thing. And with certain types of men come certain types of situations. So have you ever thought about what it is you're looking for in a man that causes you to find yourself in these kinds of situations? I'm not blaming you.
No, I definitely understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
They all were different, though, if that makes sense. So I can't say that. I definitely understand what you're asking, but each of them were different kind of guys. You know what I mean?
What about the location? What about where you found them at? Where did you meet them?
Well, the first one was elementary school. The second one, I met him hanging in Harlem. The third one, I was in college. And the fourth one, in like mutual friends, but from Manhattan.
And all these guys start off sweet, I'm guessing, in the beginning. Womanizers. Yeah.
Yes. But
wooing you.
I will say the second one wasn't really, like, we were friends first, and then the intimacy came. So once we became intimate, then his whole, like, the personality changed. Like, he wasn't even friendly anymore.
It's not necessarily thug-looking guys. Like the guy who did that to me, he was church-going. He wore suits every week to church. Like, he knew his memory verse. Like, he was an active member of the church, and no part of him was thug. Never knew nothing about thug life. Never knew what a life was up and down. Very, very God-fearing. The whole family went to church together. Again, all of his mom and dad were leaders in the church. So nowhere close to thug in the least. Right? No. So my next question to you, because I found out that this guy, that his dad would actually physically assault his mom all the time, but this was after the fact. So let me ask you, did you find out about any of, like, the background of any of the people you were with?
So my my kid's father, I know his background to the T. He watched that growing up. But what he would do he would use it as like a way for me to have empathy for him. Well, a sympathy rather. Like I experienced this. This was my upbringing. Da 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 da. So I felt sorry for him. But
It's
for
called
me,
trauma bonding.
So for me, it was like, okay, well, I shared my past experiences with you, with from what I experienced with other relationships. Why are you being that guy? If you know what I mean. So it's kind of like I'm telling you what I went through, but then you turn around and do it. But now I know that this is what you have witnessed as a child. So you're only doing what you think is right because you watched your father do it to your mom.
So are you with the third child's father today?
No.
So
we don't even communicate.
Okay. All right. What steps have you put in place for in the event you meet a guy and you find yourself in this kind of situation again? Like, what are the steps that you put in place to make sure that, if you meet a guy, you think he's a nice guy, and you find out that he's the same, he wants to be violent towards you and all these kinds of things.
Now I'm very closed off, if that makes sense. My guard is all the way up. So it's a healing process. I'm still healing. I try now, I don't disclose what my past is. So, right in the beginning, because I found if I do that, then I'm showing vulnerability. And depending on the person's intentions, that could shape the situation, if that makes sense. So now I'm not as open with that until I really feel, you know what I mean? Like something may trigger me, and then I will then open up about some things, but I try not to get as candid because I haven't had good experiences once I do open up and share, because they tend to either become that or it's just never a good thing, or they feel like I will I could be too emotional with something, so some will in turn tell me, oh, you're making me pay for what you have been through, and that's not fair.
Right.
Well, I mean, it is what it is.
Right.
You got to protect yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have to put checks in place to make sure that you don't find yourself in these kinds of situations. So,
right.
It's unfair for a guy to have to pay for someone else's sin, but at the same time, I think you have to also put checks in place for yourself to ensure that you don't find yourself in the same kind of predicaments that you have found yourself in before.
Right.
Yeah. I want to ask you and Rochelle, it's sort of like a pre-question to what Dre just asked. What do you do when you are in that situation again? But I want to ask, what are some red flags now that of a domestic, a violent person or a man that would hit a woman? What is some red flags that what type of men are those? Like, how do they move and maneuver? What are some red flags?
For me, I don't do controlling. Don't ask me where I am. Sometimes, even what you're doing. If you ask me what I'm doing, I tell you, I'm great. I'm great. Don't ask me what I'm doing. Like there's some trigger things for me. Don't ask me where I am. Never. Where you at? Oh, where you at? Ooh, why you need to know where I'm at? Okay, where I'm at, I'm safe. Okay, that's all. So there's some trigger. Like any form of control is a big red flag for me. And again, it can be something very, very simple, but it doesn't matter. The minute that goes up, I'm like, okay, I'm checking out. I'm good.
Right.
So that's for me. I don't know. Nene, maybe you can add to that list. I don't know.
Yeah, that was gonna be my first thing. Like if they are calling excessively, that for me, like if I text you and then you want to talk, and I have felt like I've talked to you enough for the day, and then you want to keep calling me, that's a red flag.
So, Nene, did you like learn karate or something?
You funny, Dre.
Why is that funny? I
She
mean,
need to get a gun or some
like,
I mean that's hard in New York. So,
or a
yeah.
taser. I'm gonna give you a
Um,
taser, Nene, if you don't got one.
I have one. I'm good though. But no, have like some self-defense classes. Through the Justice Center in the Bronx. Once I had went through the whole court situation with my kid's father, because we went to court for our custody of the kids and domestic violence. It was bad. I went through therapy there, and they had this program at the time. I don't know if they still have it because of COVID, but where it was like a domestic violence support group through the Justice Center in the Bronx of 161st Street, and there was they had peer mediation. They had a bunch of things, because you'd be surprised like how many children go through things like this, and there's nobody for them to talk to. So I did a little bit of that, but I have been very, like, I'm small, but I'm a tough cookie. So these situations have forced me to be hard, if that makes sense. So I'm trying to get back to who I used to be. Not to say that like I was a pushover, but
that femininity.
That, right. If that makes sense. So,
Yeah.
like, I don't want to look, it's hard not to look at every guy like they will hit you. But when you have experienced this from a lot of relationships, it's kind of hard not to think that, the next one doesn't have the ability to do it as well. So I'm getting to the point where I'm trying to be more open to, not seeing every guy that way, because I know it's not every guy, but when it has happened a lot, and then other people that have gone through similar situations, it's kind of hard not to think like that.
Now, did your Rochelle too? This applies to you too, if it does apply. Did your kids see any of this domestic violence, and how do you talk them through that after that happens?
My children, they saw it for a good bulk of their childhood. I want to say it stopped. Well, my son is 10 now, so he was about 6, 7. So now I have legalized visitation with their father. My youngest, that relationship ended. He was still in the home when I was pregnant with her. Different dad.
Yeah.
To see it, but my oldest two did. So they now we have court ordered visitation. I tried to limit my conversation with him in front of them, it's not the best co-parenting situation because he will sometimes, use the kids as a pawn, and then he will talk to them about certain things that, he shouldn't. So that can cause me to, get upset. So what I will try my best to do is, like, they don't see us physically fight each other, but I will try to always remain calm in front of them so they can, sometimes if he does get like that, then I don't want them to see, like, mommy's the volatile one. I don't want us to put them in a space where they have to choose between who's the sane parent, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because it gets like that, and I don't want to put them against him either, because even though he does have his moments, he's still their father.
And he suffers from a mental illness?
He's a covert narcissist.
Okay. What type of narcissist is that?
You want me to Google and get the textbook definition?
No,
I
just
said, no, girl, you went on the alley. So what you did, you make her left at Rochelle. That's what you did. Okay.
Huh?
Okay, because no, I said Nene, she made a left at Rochelle when she said covert narcissist. She just tagged me in. She tagged me. She said, Rochelle, come through. She didn't even know. All
so
right.
Let me know.
So a covert narcissist is somebody who is very humble, very on the outside, right? Very like they would want to be more of an introvert, and I'm doing this quote unquote, right? They make it seem as if they're not proud and that, everybody's just against them, but it's not them, it's the person, and it's everybody else. And very, very sweet people, but that is when they hook you. So they literally give you all that love, all that attention, everything you need to the T within the first couple weeks, sometimes months, depending on how you are, right? If you're somebody who opens up easy, it takes them weeks. If it's somebody that they have to get into the layers, it could take months, even years, right? And once they get you hooked, once you get hooked on that beautiful Kool-Aid, they switch like a light. Like you turn off that light bulb, night and day. Okay, and then the true beast is revealed, right?
The devil.
So the devil. Okay.
Do you guys have brothers or cousins that are male?
I have. I love this question. I have not immediate. No, I have cousins, but my cousins. I don't want to insult them, but my baby father ain't scared of them.
Wow.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
No, I got you.
Yeah.
Rochelle, well. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Finish. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Was it only one guy, Rochelle?
One guy physically. The others were more, as Nene touched on, it was financially or emotionally, psychologically abuse. So
what's financial abuse? What's financial?
My baby mother said I did that to her. My baby mother said I did that to her.
Ali, why this hurt you? Why did it sound like it hurt you?
No, because hold on. Here's the thing. I told my baby mother to start a business, right? I told her not to work for the first year of our child's life. And she wasn't working. I was paying for all the bills. And I told her let's start this business, a hair braiding business, because she braids really good. And we should do it with my sister-in-law, who she didn't really know too well. But we was in the house. I'm like, this is something we could do. Y'all both do little girls here really good. And she was like, no, I don't want to do it because I don't know your sister-in-law like that. And I'm like, what does that have to do with business? So later on, she said my phone screen broke and she asked me for the money to fix it. And I said, no, you don't need a new phone screen. And she said I financially abused her. You laughing, but she probably was traumatized from that. And
so maybe what had happened to her was that she was in a similar situation, and probably when you said no, it kind of triggered her because you said she should stop working, you take care of her, and now she has a need, but because you are the one making the money, now you have the ability to say no,
yes.
right?
Yeah.
Mind you,
what a lot of Ali,
I've had a broken screen for a year or so, and
that's not the point. So she's not looking at that, right? So you have to understand that women have been traumatized a lot, right? And sometimes it's not even about you. Probably it's just a similarity with whatever she went through before that probably triggered that memory. So what is financial abuse? Just like what you explained originally, right? A lot of men, when they meet the woman, say, oh, don't worry, baby, I'll take care of you. Don't worry. And it's cute. Women are like, oh my God, he loves me so much. He's acting right? Right? And a lot of women leave their jobs, sometimes very good paying jobs, to sit at home. But now what does the man has? He has that power. Just like how you had the power to say no. If she was working her money, she wouldn't have to come and ask you to get a new phone because she would have her own money to get her own phone. And that's what happened, right?
Yeah.
A lot of these men literally take advantage of that. And because of that, the woman, because she don't pay any bills, he threatens her, oh, you can't leave me because you're not working, you never made any salary, and now you have to sit down and you have to take everything he's giving you because you gave up your financial rights.
And by the way, that's the strategy of a pimp also.
Yeah, so that's exactly how a lot of women become financially abused by their partner.
Yep.
Hold up, Ali. You saying you a pimp?
Another thing that happened was I was watching a basketball game.
Wait.
Why are you not answering? Why are you not answering? Why are you not answering?
No, I'm saying the damn girl should have started a business and not complain about something so tiny.
Well,
but you don't know her background though. So none of us. I can't even defend her or against her, but I'm saying a lot of people have backgrounds that we don't know.
No, but it was my sister-in-law. I knew her. She was a sweet girl, and she just was
but
quiet.
You didn't know her? You weren't the one going to work with her?
Hey, listen. Money you have to make. I'm sure you work with people you don't know right now.
So here's my question to you, Ali.
Yes.
She wasn't working at the time when this phone screen incident took place?
No, she wasn't.
Now, why wasn't she working?
Because I told her not to work, because we had a child and we didn't want the child to go to a daycare center. Mind you, she has parents who she can ask anything for.
No. Leave and cleave, brother. Leave and cleave, brother. So you took the responsibility of impregnating these people's child. So now it's your responsibility to take care of their child.
Yes, and my responsibility was, hey, we got a roof over our head, we're eating. A cracked phone screen is not the biggest worries that we have right now.
I got you. Well, that
was my decision. Can you ladies tell us as men, y'all both were in experiences where y'all didn't want to tell your parents or parent what had happened as far as domestic abuse? Can we both, Dre and I both have daughters. Can you explain to us how we can raise our daughters in a way that they wouldn't want to hide something like that?
Talk to them. Like, be as candid as possible. Like, give them examples. Going through this now, where for me, my children watch me and their dad, abuse each other, because I'm taking responsibility too, because I did hit him, so we abused each other. And then now my son is being bullied in school by someone, and he's being quiet about it. I wasn't aware that he was being bullied since November of last year. He didn't tell anyone, was arguing back with the kid. Then the kid, harms him physically in school. And then he comes home and tells me. Now,
to the point where he needed a cast, right?
Yeah, and got a concussion.
Crazy.
So,
you know what? I'm coming over there. We're going to teach him how to box.
We got the room downstairs.
All right. Yeah, that's set in motion, yo.
Right.
Both of y'all need to learn how to box. Not just that kid. Both of y'all.
Right.
You need to learn how to
Dre,
knock
you
a
funny.
dude out.
You funny, Dre.
I don't know why y'all think I'm joking.
Dre, you funny.
Woman, you've been through.
Oh, you mean her?
Yes.
Oh, I thought you meant me.
Yeah.
No. I'm saying, you've been through trauma. And you need to do whatever. Look, I'm going to blow Rochelle's mind. I think women are more powerful than men.
As far as what?
As far as willpower and let me get a little esoteric. And just like force of a being. I think women are more powerful than men. And so I don't think if you're a feminine woman and you sound like you're a feminine woman, right? Mm-hmm. If you're a feminine woman, you learning how to box doesn't change that. It just makes you a more confident woman. Knowing that you can move through life and you don't have to worry that a guy is going to, you have to worry what a guy could possibly do, because the minute he tries is a high likelihood. Yeah, he might be stronger than you, but you're going to learn how to take down a stronger guy. As soon as you take any kind of karate or self-defense or, jujitsu or,
aim
martial
for the balls.
arts,
Aim for
whatever,
the balls.
you learn how to take down someone who's stronger than you. And I think you being in these precarious situations, that's one thing. You don't have an uncle, a brother, a cousin that's gonna come to your rescue. Then you got to take ownership of that and put yourself in the position to defend yourself. So yeah, your kid got to learn boxing, but you got to learn too.
I have male, like I have uncles and my cousins, but there's the thing too. They would come to my defense, but I would take him back. Now it's a totally different
That's hard.
type of conversation.
That's hard.
So how do you expect them to
they don't want to get involved.
Right. And then I have family that works for MTA. I have family, they don't want to risk their jobs getting involved in these type of volatile situations, and then I'm going back to him.
All right, so I'm glad you brought that up, because I forgot about this element of relationship. So
I think when Ali tapped into how to raise the woman, how to raise your daughters be comfortable talking about that. You wanted to chime in about that.
So here's the thing. I think, and this is obviously mansplaining women stuff, right? The first time a guy touches you is the time you leave.
Absolutely.
So you're right. It would dissuade people from coming to your rescue if they came and you're taking back the guy who's beating you, right? I guess if you had a brother, it wouldn't matter how many times you take him back. The fact that you hit my sister, I'm coming for you. But just to deal with your situation. The first time a guy touches you, and I'm sure you know this, it's time to boogie.
Right.
He don't need to know you're leaving. He don't need to know he can't come back at that time. But the first time he touch you, in your head, oh, this is done. There should be no continuing of this relationship.
Right.
Sorry or no sorry. You touch me.
Okay. So Dre, I have to interject, and I'm going to say this.
Please.
Right? Abuse doesn't just start as abuse. They hook you. They make sure that there is a dependence on them. They make sure
I was gonna say
there is so much sweetness involved, right? That like the first time it happens, you're in disbelief because this beautiful, wonderful person who has done so much for me, maybe it was a mistake, maybe blah, 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 right? And I'm not taking up for them. I'm just telling you the reality of it. Somebody treating you bad and hit you, of course you leave. You never come back. Screw you. But if that person gets into your mental, that person knows how to, touch you and blow in your ear or whatever, and they know that's going to melt you because these people have studied you. These people all have PhD in mental abilities, right? And I'm telling you, so it doesn't just start off like that. It doesn't, right?
In the pimp book I was reading, don't ask me why. He said,
we know why, Ali. We're not gonna ask you why, but we know why. We know why.
Yo, the man said you disconnect a woman from her family and friends. That's the first thing you do.
Absolutely.
You make it. You make them seem like they're the worst people ever.
Yeah.
And then you start controlling her financially.
Who can love them.
Yes.
And you're the only person who can put up with the foolishness that they do.
Yeah.
When I got molested, the guy who molested me said, "Yo, there's nothing wrong with what we're doing. There's nothing wrong, and people do this all the time." So and just mentally made me. You don't have to tell your mom. We're not doing anything wrong. You know, as an 11-year-old boy. Go on, Dre.
So here's the deal. I don't care, and maybe I'll teach my daughter this. All you women out there, I don't care how much sugar rolls off his tongue. If you didn't startle him and he turned around and slapped you because he was startled, he intentionally slapped you. There is no mistake in abuse.
I was upset. You're not listening. You're not listening to the victims. We're telling you what happens. It's not just like that. If it was, nobody would be abused. They find more than that.
They find the kind-hearted. They find the kind-hearted and gentle nature
forgiving.
People to pray.
They're the ones who will forgive you for everything. The ones who have trauma.
Right. The people who
it's not just like
don't get angry easily.
The verbal. The verbal. If I can be candid, my oldest two's father, the covert narcissist, he was verbally abusive to me first, and then I was physically abusive back. So I countered his verbal with physical. Like, you're gonna talk to me like that? Boom. So for me,
What was that? What did that look like? Did that look like a push or did that look like a punch to the face?
That looked like I picked up a bin of rollers and smacked him with it. And this was all over.
So like
him.
1 pound, like you hit him with a 1 pound item?
Yeah, it wasn't heavy at all. It was like a whisk basket, like a wooden basket.
Okay.
So this is abuser number 1 or number 2?
This is abuser number 3.
Oh, abuser number 3. Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
But in his recollection, he could say now that you was the abuser of him.
She started, yeah.
He would always say that.
Right.
Because, but for me, with my past, I cannot, even now, I cannot deal with a man raising his voice to me or talking down to me. I'm ready to go as soon as it happens.
Yeah, maybe you shouldn't take karate then.
Are you okay with being alone now?
I'm getting better with being alone because I feel, if to put it into words, I feel safer by myself.
Yeah.
Well, you just messed Ali's world up. He thinks women need a man to protect them.
But I feel safer by myself. I haven't felt that safe, like feeling from a guy. Well, I felt safe with this one, but he got a shorty, so we can't even go there. But it's been a while since I've been able to actually feel protected from a man instead of feeling fearful of them.
Gotcha. So okay, let me try this again. And I know I'm saying what I'm saying, and it seems like I'm not hearing what y'all are saying.
No, I get it. It's just from your, perception of things. Like, you can't understand why we would.
No, I'm not saying I don't understand it. No, that's not even what I'm saying. I'm saying, okay, I'm the kind of person that everything could be going great. Okay, let me put it this way. I have a friend who has been through some trauma, right, in relationships. And because of the trauma that he has been through in relationships, he has certain protocols in place that if a woman does this, it triggers something for him. Or he doesn't do certain things if a woman isn't matching what he's doing. Right? And so I'm saying, women who are listening to us, the first time a man hits you, no matter how sweet his tongue is. Now, it's easy for me to say it because I'm not in this situation.
What about the body, Dre? What about the body?
The first time a man hits you is the time that you exit stage left. Now, look.
No matter how sweet the sex.
No. Because, listen, you have to decide. You have to decide what's more important. Now, if you think the sex is more important and you stay in that relationship, you cannot complain about abuse. Now, it's not supposed to happen, but you know that it's happening and you're choosing to stay. Me and you are not going to have a conversation. You understand what I'm saying? Now, if you're trying to leave and you're trying to figure out a way to leave, now we can talk. That's the same thing Nene just said, that her she would go back to the men so her family wouldn't want to help. If you're in a situation where the sex is great, so you're putting up with getting hit, I don't want to talk to you until you decide that you're ready to leave.
I was going to ask you that, Dre. So, like, what if your sister or daughters are one day in that situation and they go back with the man? and then it happens all over again. Are you done with them, or?
So if my sister or my daughter is in that situation, the man won't want to be with her again.
Okay. I like that answer.
So that won't ever happen. If my sister or my daughter is ever in a situation where they have been physically touched, how they did not want to be touched, that man will not want to be with. Whether she handles it or I handle it, he ain't gonna want her when he's done being handled. Period.
Gotcha.
So that, that's just my look. I understand that there are elements of these kinds of relationship that I don't know. But I'm just saying, you being in the relationship, red flags should you should have non-negotiables, right? In life, you should have non-negotiables. And a non-negotiable should be, you touch me, I'm out. And I know they alienate you from your family, right? But I can almost guarantee you, if you have a family member that decided that, no, I'm turning my back on the family, right? And then they showed up at your doorstep saying, he's beaten me and I had to get away. They're not going to turn you away. Even though they make you feel like your family don't want you, the family is never going to turn you away, right? They will be so empathetic and happy to help you in that situation. None of them, unless the person who's beating you, they are afraid of that person as well.
Yeah,
So,
my mom and my sister, single mom, no man around. With that, I feel like I wanted to say some of them like prey on that type of situation. Like they look
no males
for
around.
Right.
Yeah.
So he put fear because he lived with me and my mom. We lived with my mom when I was pregnant with my two children for like 2-3 years. So the abuse, my mom was seeing it. So
what?
Right. This is a different situation.
Y'all don't know 911? Someone please call
Yo, listen.
911.
My mom was fearful. My sister was fearful, but it's because she saw my nephew and my niece that she did not get people. She asked me like, I got somebody. You want me to have this child? And I'll be like, no. Because like Rochelle said, you protect the one that, or you have that, I had it in me to, no, he's going to change. He's going to change. For me, I felt like he looked for that. Like he saw, her dad's she doesn't have a father here. Her mom's single, So my family did turn their back on me. I went through the entire court process by myself. I went through all of that alone because it was years of abuse that they.
Yo, in the words of a great poet in the early 2000s, love is blind and it will take over your mind. What you think is love is truly not. You need to elevate and find. I find it so ironic that, like God is the best comedian. When we are the least wise, we have the most strength and energy. And when we become wiser and wiser, we slow down. So it's like this reverse thing happening, And yeah, that's some, like, knowledge is everything, Some people weren't around, like, my father told me I was supposed to know not to get molested. And I'm like, a glass doesn't make itself.
Right.
A glass is unable to make itself. So just as a glass is unable to make itself, you have to pour everything that you expect your children to know, because you know what I'm saying?
Every day
Like,
is a learning.
yes, and repeating too, not just one time. Repeating, yo, you know nobody's supposed to touch you down there. You know you can always tell daddy. You can always tell mommy if somebody violates you. Nobody's supposed to do that to you. You know, it's like a repeating thing. It's not just one time and done.
Yo,
Even
Ali,
if it's family, because a lot of the times that happens with family. So you are
big
open
facts.
to the oh, it's my uncle.
Right.
So he's not, because that happened to me. I still, my uncle's passed on, and I still haven't shared this with my mom because I've dealt with it through therapy, because my mom is just not that person.
That was her brother?
No, her like her first cousin.
Oh, okay.
He molested you?
Yeah, as a child.
And you don't think your mother was able to handle that information? Yeah.
No. So I held on to it. Even still, I've shared it with my older sister, who she then told me he did the same thing to her.
Insane.
Oh, jeez.
And we're sharing this with each other in our adult years. So it's like, and I'm like, do you want to tell mommy? She's like, nah, because my mom is just not that person that we can talk to about those things. She shuts down, and she just doesn't want to deal with it. So who do you go to? So now, because I have that type of upbringing with my mom, I don't want to be that with my children. So I, like what with my son, I was saying how he, was being bullied in school. I'm teaching him, you need to talk to mommy. No, it's never okay for someone to put their hands on you. But then this is me teaching my son, who he has seen me hit his father. He's seen his father hit me. So how do you now teach this when you've already shown him that it is okay to hit? You understand? It's like a double-edged sword.
Yeah, it's okay to hit, so hit back.
But now in the space of hit, because the child is bullying you, but then will he take it to a relationship? That's my biggest fear.
Well, I mean, look, you are a ways away from him being in a relationship and understanding how he should. How old is your child?
He's 10, and he got into the fight because the kid, he's a girl from his grade now likes my son, doesn't like the kid anymore. So the kid's jealous and fights my son. So I don't know. These kids
right. So what I'm saying is, so I told my kids, I tell my kids, you are never to hit someone. But anytime somebody touch you, beat them up. You will never get in trouble when you come home.
I say the same thing.
Yeah.
You get in trouble from the teachers, but not from mommy.
No. If anybody touch you or your brother, you beat them up. You get home, don't worry about it. I will even come to school and be mad that they caused you to beat them up.
Right.
But I want to get back to the subject at hand with regards to life after domestic abuse. I really, I'm saying these things, and I know you and Rochelle think I don't understand the dynamics. I do. I just think that sometimes we find ourselves in situations that we have control over, but we think we don't have control over, right? And you have a brother that you can call all the time, and he will always come running for you. Your brother is 911. If your mom and your uncle and all of these people won't come to your rescue, you best believe 911, you call that brother, they're coming.
I disagree with you.
Denied.
Oh well,
I'ma tell you.
I'm gonna shut up and listen. I'm gonna shut up and listen.
Disagree with him.
Story different. I'm sorry.
Disagree
I'm
with
challenging
him.
you, Dre. I'm sorry.
Challenge him.
No, please, please,
Challenge the
please.
thing. Challenge the thing.
911, not always my brother, because the first time I felt the need to call them, I was bloody, face bleeding. He was bleeding. He wasn't fighting me this time this happened. He wasn't fighting me as much as I was him. And I kind of noticed that. Like, why isn't he really, like, going in like he usually does? He wanted me to hurt him more. So I call the police. They take me because he was harmed more.
Mm-hmm.
So self-defense is not self-defense.
So here's all right. Look. Ali's a chess player, right? And in order to, and Rochelle, please chime in, because I know Rochelle is like, Andre, shut up, because you just talking crap. But I think when you find yourself, I'll give you an example. I have a friend, right? I have a friend who he and his baby mother is having issues. And he wanted to do a whole bunch of things, and I said, no, don't do any of that. This is what you should be doing. And I outlined a bunch of things that he didn't want to do, but that is the process you go through legally to get what you want in America. Now, you as a female, and I could be wrong, feel free to challenge me, feel free to disagree. America has a whole heap of support for battered women. I think you can find us. You can get a social worker assigned to you, and like I said, if you find yourself in these kind of situations, and you go find a social worker, one day you leave work or you just leave the house and you go into the precinct, my man is beating me. Is there a social worker I can talk to? I can guarantee you, if you start getting certain things documented, if you can't break away from the first time, that, like I'm suggesting, right? If you can't break away, find ways to get these things documented. Right. So when the time comes for you to actually get this person out, there is a record. So whether you don't call 911, but you call your social worker, hey, we just had a fight again and he keeps hitting me, blah, blah, blah. Even if you hit him, the social worker calls 911. I have a battered woman situation. Both of y'all are bloodied, but the social worker called on your behalf. I find it hard to believe that the cops are going to come and still take you, because there's a history of this guy beating on you.
Right.
So I'm just using this opportunity to give tools that women that find themselves in these situations. I'm giving you tools for your toolbox, so you can use. You don't need to use all of them, but you have things in your toolbox to use. Go ahead.
No, you said paper trail.
Yeah.
You start to document, of course.
You got to get. Listen, even if you don't want him locked up, have it on record that this is what happened. We are working through it, but this is what happened. Right? So that way, when the time comes for you to get this person out of your house, all you got to do is go back to the record. Rochelle, I hear you sighing hard. Go ahead. Let me hear it.
Dre, how you hear me saying hard? I'm listening. I'm agreeing with
Oh,
you.
okay, okay.
No,
No,
I
because
agree. So it's never to work harder, it's to work smarter and to know the system. And you're absolutely right. So even if you're gonna take him back, let there be, as you said, a paper trail, right? So making sure that you're covering yourself. So I have a friend who has a friend. I don't know the lady at all, and her husband, he is a narcissist, and he's setting her up. He will trigger her. And he, just like what your baby father did, he would go and he would whisper in her ears. He would say the most hurtful things to her. And then he's light skinned. She's dark skinned. And she hit him and he called the cops. And do you know what? She said she was going to press charges. Do you know the cops said to her, you are better than your husband because he is pressing charges against you. And a matter of fact, the cops said to her, you need to watch your back. This is what the cops said to her. This man is calling the suicide hotline. He is calling and he's telling them that he's being abused. And this woman is the one who bought this house. She's the one who has done everything in the house. Even her son is saying to her, Mommy, Daddy is planning to kill you. And he's going to do the self-defense. No, I'm serious. The son said that to her. The cops are telling her because the husband is calling the cops on her all the time. She spent a weekend in prison. And you know what he did? He brought over the new girl to the house. As soon as the cops brought her away, the new girl was up in that house. Okay?
They're good.
So,
These ones?
yes.
Let me tell you, I'm writing a book. I figure out how not to get, sued, like based on true events or whatever. They exist, and these
it's true.
You have to watch out for. It's not just the sweet whisper in the ear. They will create serious relationships with people around you, even get in your support system's head. You understand what I'm saying? It's a different type of narcissism with these people. There was an episode about it on Red Table Talk. With
Jada.
Episode. Yes. You might want to tune in to that.
so even that situation, right, where this woman is with a man who is setting her up. So the minute I find out that you're calling suicide hotline on me, you're calling the police on me, and the police is telling me this man is setting you up. The minute I find these things out, the first thing I'm doing is moving out the house. Because you said her son told her that he's gonna kill her, he's trying to kill her or whatever.
Yeah, the son said that to her. She said,
Man,
Mom, Dad is planning to kill you because everything that he's doing is a setup for, I was defending myself.
Self-defense.
And because all of self-defense. And because all of this, like everything that he's doing, he's calling the cops every time. And he's the one agitating her. He's the one agitating her.
So I'm moving out of that house. That's the first thing I'm doing. The second thing I'm doing... I
don't think she wants to leave her house because she says she buy it and it's a big old house.
Yeah. The first thing I'm doing is moving out of that house. Because whether she moves out or she stays and die, she ain't going to have the house no more. So the first thing I'm doing is moving out of that house. The second thing I'm doing is listing that house for sale. Either he's going to buy me out and keep that house, or we're going to list it for sale and we're going to split whatever the sale price is. I am not staying in a situation where the person that I'm living with I can't trust. Especially if I think you're setting me up for something, whether it's killing me or to get me locked up in jail permanently. Whatever the setup is, I know there's a setup. I'm out of here. Peace out. And so again, there is just so like people sit down and find themselves in situation that they have power in, and they just choose not to exercise the power sometimes. And I was so excited to have this conversation because women, men don't find themselves in these, peculiar situations often. But I am always like elated when I hear of a woman who found herself in this situation, powered through, and came out on the other side stronger and even more successful at times. So, I was very excited to have this conversation because I think women are just so strong and powerful to do these kinds of things that, in some cases, men just curl up in a corner and just, you know,
And to all you men out there hitting women, seek therapy. Seek therapy. It's not powerful to hurt something that's smaller than you. And
seek therapy. Cut your seek therapy.
They don't seek therapy.
funny.
They move on.
Seek therapy. Cut your done. For you to be going around and like exercising your will against a female as a man, come on, man. Cut your done.
They don't seek therapy. They move on to the next.
So I think I tried asking before. Nene, you're single now, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All y'all guys listening to the Wagwa, I'm just kidding. You're single now. If you can just think about what are the things that are, well, you did mention if a guy raises his voice. Do you have any other red flags that are non-negotiables that you have to make sure that you don't find yourself in the same kind of situation?
Asking, for financial help. Or
if the guy asks for financial help, or you won't ask for financial help?
The guy asking.
Tinder swindler.
Tinder swindler.
What is that? What is that? I don't know what that is. What's that?
It's a show.
My enemies are after me.
Yep.
My enemies are coming for me.
I don't know that show, bro.
You need to go watch it though. It's a true story.
Okay. I'll look it up. What about you, Rochelle? I'm sorry. Go ahead, Nene.
No, I was saying that and too overly like too
overly what? Overly what?
Overly eager, like too interested. Like if we just meeting and talking, like if you trying to visit often, trying to spend a lot of time with me, that's trying to meet my children, that's a red flag.
And what is too soon to meet kids? Like how many months would you say?
Definitely 3 months.
Okay.
I mean, I don't even like to bring. I haven't been serious with a guy since my last relationship, so I don't even bring guys around them. Like I'm very afraid to even do that type of thing.
Rochelle, what checks you have?
Yeah.
Or red flags or non-negotiables?
No, I agree with Nene. Just now, taking your time. There's no rush. Anybody that's rushing like the world is coming to an end, what are we doing? No, slow down. So I think that's a huge red flag. Like in a week, the person is basically almost like, oh my God, I love you. What? No, we met yesterday. What are you saying? So it's not like, especially for a woman, it feels nice to get all this attention especially if you're somebody that loves attention or something. So that person giving you all this attention and you're pouring out your whole heart to them. Never do that. When you're talking to somebody you just met, let them earn information.
Right.
Get their information. And if every ex was crazy, if every ex is stalking them, if every ex did something evil to them, okay, what? Everybody just hate you? What is so special about you? That's another red flag, right? So if somebody is always like talking about their exes, right, and living in this whole new dimension or whatever, seriously, that's a huge red flag. And again, just that control. What are you doing? Where are you? What are you up to? No, don't even say that information. Right? Talk to them. I am great. How are you? Change it. Put everything in your favor. Slow down. Don't rush. The world ain't coming to an end tomorrow, and this person isn't the only person. And if somebody's rushing you and you feel uncomfortable with the pacing, then there is some diabolical reason behind that.
Right.
So for me, those are my biggest red flags. Yeah, and of course, meeting the family and want to come over and constantly texting and calling you. No, give me some space. I need to breathe. I'm good. Let's breathe. Yeah.
Gotcha. Ladies, you heard it from the horse's mouth. Guys, don't be too thirsty because you're going to just scare the women away. Ladies, check these situations out. Make sure you don't find yourself in one of them. Right? It's a red flag. Check it out. Be safe out there.
Thank y'all so much for your time. Thank you,
yes.
Nene,
and thank you, Nene. Oh my gosh, it was so amazing, so wonderful to meet you.
You're welcome.
You're the best.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Nene. And listen, all the best, man. You're strong. And don't be afraid to call your brother, man. He'll come running. He'll come running.
I'll call Ali before I call now.
That's fine.
I'm popping out.
That's fine. That's fine.
You heard?
Well, guys, thank you for listening to another episode of the Gwan podcast.
Yeah.
As I mentioned, we are already on YouTube. If you don't know, now you know for the second time. Please like, subscribe, share our videos, spread the word, tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend.
Yes. And if you want us to talk about something that you want to hear about, you could email us at wagwanpodcast@gmail.com. WAHGWAN podcast@gmail.com. We're also on Instagram and we're on all your other favorite platforms. That's Apple, Google, Spreaker, SoundCloud, whatever you want. We got it. Listen in.